This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight we're taking your calls and questions. It's your chance to meet the judge. We've got the Honorable Judge Patrick Tootin with us tonight to answer questions on a limited range of things. He can't talk about active cases or things that have happened with cases in the past, but he can talk about being a judge and answer your questions about circuit court, district court. Call in your questions, the 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. We'll also have your email questions. You can email a question on any legal topic any day of the week. You email it to lawcall@waaytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we will pull out some of your email questions, and we've got some email questions tonight. Getting us started, Will Leagues here from Timberlake & League. Good to have you here.
Hey Sharon, how are you?
I'm good. It is nice to have a special guest tonight.
It is. We have a special guest. Often you don't get to talk to the referee or the one who makes the calls in the courtroom, whether it be criminal. We don't talk about that process. We're lucky to have Judge Patrick Tootin with us, Circuit Court Judge here in Madison County. Judge, thank you so much for staying up with us tonight.
A little bit beyond my bedtime now that I'm an old man, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Now, so you were on the district court, so you practiced since 1996, doing criminal, all kinds of law, and then since you've been on the district court bench and now the circuit court bench. What's the difference between the two, Judge?
Well, jury trials are the big thing. I handled a lot of small claims cases, evictions, and juvenile court work when I was in district court, and I won't be doing that anymore, but divorces are a big one, and jury trials are really the biggest change for me in my new position.
So that's going to be starting up. Talk to us a little bit about what COVID was like. So our court systems really did not shut down during COVID.
No, we worked right through. The administrative office of the courts here in Alabama did a great job putting us on Zoom. They integrated that into our computer systems right away, and we rolled with that. We're still using that quite a bit, and it's very efficient.
In some ways, it has turned into something that the court likes, right? And the lawyers like it sometimes. It eliminates some court appearances. What do you like about doing Zoom that maybe we'll continue on doing? Well,
it's certainly efficient. It is a time saver for both the court and for lawyers. Some things are not good. I mean, it's hard to take testimony and gauge the credibility of witnesses over a video screen, but some things are really good, and it's been very useful to us.
So your chance to call in and ask questions, what it's like to be a judge. You can ask anything, from talking about objections and why things get overruled, why some cases get thrown out. Call in your questions for the judge, 31 Law Call number 256-536-0077. We've also got a special new feature we call you be the judge, you be the,
right.
Check out some video. We have some video that, all right, this is from, you see, we've got cyclists out here. It's a big race, and the cyclists have signed a waiver clearing the owner of this course from any liability for an injury on his property. But shouldn't the owner have told them there's a bull on the property? This cyclist gets the worst end of this.
I'm unsure if, these cyclists, it's a race, they signed a waiver. I don't know if it was a general waiver or they knew there was bulls on the course. There's a couple of different aspects of the law on this. If you have, on the civil side, now it's the judge the criminal side, on the civil side, if you have livestock and they are roaming and they get free, usually you are not civilly liable unless you willfully, let the livestock out.
Okay.
I mean, that's to help the farmers and help everyone out there who has livestock. And again, they tend to get out and cause mayhem, but are you liable civilly? If you willfully, let's say your cow's getting out every other week, you don't fix your fence, then you could be liable civilly for any and all damage caused by your livestock. Now on the criminal side, Judge Tootin, they can be charged criminally for any damage that their livestock does. Is that right?
I think so. I actually handled one of these cases several years ago when I was in practice. You can actually be jailed for having your livestock damage other property and fined up to double the amount of the damages.
Yeah, it's it was interesting that they're going to sign up for a race and there's bulls on the course.
Yeah. When you sign a waiver for something like that, okay, because you sign a waiver when you go to
right.
trampoline places, right? Sometimes they want you to sign for your children too. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, there's a recreational use statute, and basically it's to encourage landowners to allow people to come out and hike and kayak and camp. A lot of people are glamping these days. And if you have, if you have land and you allow people to come and use that, you're going to be protected by the recreational use statute. It will preclude your liability for negligence. Now, if there's a wanton or a willful disregard for the safety of others, you can be liable, but you are protected somewhat. And this race, just like that, they signed a waiver. The waiver can dismiss negligence, but not wanton or intentional conduct. And there's different levels as to culpability. Negligence, I'm driving down the road, maybe I'm looking back at the kids, or I'm distracted for just a moment, and then I run a red light. Wanton conduct or willful conduct, if I'm drunk with my head out the sunroof, steering my feet going 100 miles an hour, that's another level of culpability. And on the civil side of what we deal with, it could be punitive damages. Again, the difference in compensatory is to compensate and punitive to punish. Same issue. You got a drunk driver steering with his feet, head out the sunroof, going 100 miles an hour. They can be charged with DUI. And Judge Tootin, when they come into your courtroom, let's say they blew a .17, caused a wreck, and with injuries, what determines what they're charged with? Is it the injury to the other person, or how does that go?
Well, it could be if there was some type of serious physical injury or death involved in that motor vehicle accident, but there are several different ways under the DUI statute you can be charged through alcohol use, controlled substances, other substances that could cause you to not be able to operate a motor vehicle safely.
And so you in your criminal practice, you represented murder, DUIs, the full gamut. A lot of people call in and have questions about, let's say your client's caught outside the house with the gun that probably, or forensics say, shot the person inside. Client comes to you and say, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. What is your job as a defense attorney to protect or try and help that client?
Well, certainly everybody who is charged with a crime in our country, and it's one of the greatest constitutional rights we have, you have a right to defend yourself and remain silent. There are a lot of things that go into that, but mostly you just need to know what your rights are so you know how to protect them.
We've got callers waiting. We've got Lisa on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hi, my question is for the judge.
Okay.
How hard is it to overrule if you get a judge's ruling and you don't like the ruling, what the judge has ordered, and you thought the ruling was going to be fair, but it was not what you thought it was going to be? How hard is it to get another judge to overrule that ruling?
There's always going to be a side. Somebody's not going to be happy in every case, right? So what happens, Judge, in a case where somebody is not happy with the outcome?
Well, you can't just pick your judge. You certainly have a right to appeal. You have a lot of due process rights even after a judge has made a ruling. But appealing that to a higher court is really what you have to do to get that overturned in some way.
And it's not like you get a whole new trial either. So people always think that you're going to appeal and, oh, well, I'll get a brand new trial on something. And in most cases, that's not it. It's going to be a paper. It's a brief they've written to,
right. You
to
can
argue.
Appeal to if it's a criminal decision, it goes to criminal court of appeals, civil court of appeals, and up to the Alabama Supreme Court, depending on what your issue is. But you have to have an appealable issue. Just because you don't like it, there has to be some type of appealable issue, whether it be a jury trial or that. But let's say it's a district court where Judge Tootin was, and then let's say there was a appeal to circuit court where he is now. That would be a trial de novo or a new trial. But if you're at the highest court level where Judge Tootin is, you have to appeal to the circuit court of civil or criminal appeals. Is that right, Judge Tootin?
That's right. And interesting thing in district court, all those trials out of district court are de novo to circuit court. So to answer the caller's question before, you certainly have that opportunity if you were in district court to start. But like you said, if you're appealing to a higher appellate court in the state of Alabama, that's on brief.
Let's talk about the caseload. Madison County, we've been waiting for a long time for another circuit court judgeship to open up, and you're filling that now. Talk about what the caseload is like in Madison County.
Well, until I was appointed and we had this new position in Madison County, the circuit judges in Madison County had the highest caseloads in the entire state of Alabama. We're still second, even with the additional spot that I have filled. Our district court judges have the third highest caseloads in the state. We all work really hard, and I knew that going in, so that's great. I'm glad to do that. It's a pleasure to serve the people of Madison County.
It really is a service. You think of it, you think it's prestigious. Yes, it is, but it's also a service to look at that.
With a growing county like Huntsville's growing, there's more and more businesses, more and more traffic, more and more everything, and so you need access to the judicial system, whether it be, Sharon, your world of domestic relations. You need to try and fight for custody. You want to file a case and get to the judge and have your case heard because you've got kids growing up and they need different things. And whether it be that, criminal cases, civil cases, what we do, we're filing, go ahead and say it, because the insurance companies, we're having to file more and more cases. And that's putting more and more case log on judges such as Judge Tootin and all the circuit court judges. And we have been at a deficit for more than 40 years since we've had a judge open up for here in Madison County. We've been growing. Jefferson County, they were +7. We were -4. And to be honest, I'm perplexed as to how they could fuss as for us getting a new circuit court judge here in Madison County, and they're desperately needed. And when you file your cases, and Judge, I got a question about some of the domestic cases you hear, some of the saddest and most difficult cases, but people are desperate to get to the judge. And with the backlog, is that some of the more difficult cases to hear, Judge?
Well, it is, and you need access to the courts. There are a lot of emergency issues that come up in juvenile cases, dependency cases, child custody cases. Anytime those come up, attorneys are wanting to get those cases in front of the judge immediately, and we have to kind of determine sometimes what is a true emergency and what isn't. Just sometimes the days are not long enough to get everything in.
What is a typical day like for a judge in Madison County? How do you make it through the week?
Yeah, well, a lot of court, and that's good. I enjoy being in court. I'm a lot more comfortable in a courtroom than I am in front of this camera right now, I'll tell you that. But we spend a lot of time in court, and I enjoy that quite a bit. The rest of my time is spent reviewing briefs and motions and ruling on motions. Sometimes
you're the duty judge too, right? What does it mean to be duty judge?
That's right. Well, we have protection from abuse issues that come up on an emergency basis. Also, we have search warrants that have to be signed for law enforcement. We rotate. All the judges in Madison County take on a weekend of that and a full week at the courthouse doing those PFAs and search warrants.
Is that, Judge Tootin, is that where, let's say there's a homicide or there's an emergency, they need a warrant signed or some type of search warrant? Is that where they will seek you out where you are, give you the facts, and you determine whether or not, what's the standard for that?
Yeah, so you're looking to determine whether or not there's probable cause to search a residence or a vehicle or some other location. And sometimes that happens in the middle of the night. So we rotate on that so we don't always have to be up in the middle of the night every night taking those calls.
We've got a caller waiting. Aday is calling from Arab. Hi, Aday, thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
I have a question. If somebody promised you faithfully to pay a debt and they did not pay it, can you have their wages garnished?
Well, they promised to pay a debt, didn't pay it. Is that right?
Yes.
Did they do it in writing? Is there anything in writing?
No.
Okay. Well, depending on the type of debt, what type of debt is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I really don't know how to explain it. It was just some money that was owed.
Okay.
He came to us and promised to pay it and then won't pay it.
Okay.
Well, if you can prove that there was a contract, and contracts can be verbal. I think if it lasts for more than a year, I think the statute of fraud says they have to be in writing depending on what type of loan this is. But you would first, in order to garnish wages, to get to your question, you would have to first prove there's been a breach of that particular contract. You have to prove there's a meeting of the minds, there was an agreement, you provided money, they provided a promise to pay back, that's a contract, they failed to do it. If you prove your case in a court of law and get a judgment, then the collection side of that judgment, garnished wages is one option that's available to you to recover the verdict that you got. But first you got to go to the court, and you can go to district court, and there's no juries, and there's small claims courts, similar jurisdictions, and prove your case. But you can't do anything unless you get that verdict. So Judge Tootin, when you were on the district court bench, let's say Sharon loaned me $200. I said I was going to pay her back, and I said, you know what?
And he didn't.
I don't want to do that. And she files a claim against me, but we just had something in verbal. how would that go? I mean,
If there's an agreement and a meeting of the minds, that can certainly be upheld. That can be filed in small claims court if the value is less than $6,000, in district court if it's less than $20,000.
Okay.
See, I'm coming after that $200
That's right.
bucks.
That's right.
Yeah,
We're
except
gonna-
you got to pay a filing fee to get in too,
You're
Sharon,
right,
so you got to
though.
remember that.
So, but I can recover that too, though.
Expenses, I would
my
think,
legal
right.
fees.
That's right.
They're telling us to take a break. We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. It's Meet the Judge night. Call in.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call, where lawyers come to help. Your rights, your calls, live. Hosted by family law attorney Sharon Doviet. With the personal injury attorneys of one of the Valley's most respected law firms, Timberlake and League. Featuring the knowledge of managing partner Michael Timberlake, with millions of dollars awarded to his clients. And the experience of attorney Will League, a strong courtroom fighter known for his commitment to winning. And the fellow partners of Timberlake and League Heath Brooks and William Meservey. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight it's Meet the Judge night. Will League is here, but he's not the judge.
That's right.
The Honorable Judge Patrick Tootin, the newest circuit court judge in Madison County, filling the new judgeship. We're honored to have him with us tonight. Judge, you've had to deal a lot of different kinds of cases. You've been district court judge and now becoming circuit court judge. What's it like dealing with pro se parties? So that's somebody who doesn't have their own lawyer.
Yeah, you got to be real, I guess, a little bit softer with the pro se litigants. They don't know the rules of court the way the attorneys do. We can't expect them to know those things, and we've got to give all those people access to the courts. It is something difficult that the judges have to deal with, but we've got to be patient, and we appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Have y'all ever thought about writing a book about the legal practice? There's a new book out. If you love legal things, and people who watch LawCall love legal things.
That's right. You know, Madison County Attorney Robert Bailey he's kind of the John Grisham of this area. There's Bob right there. He's written several books. His latest book is Rich Blood, set in Gunnersville, Alabama.
Hey!
And he's currently on a book tour, book signings.
I think
and
I know that boathouse.
We might be lucky enough to have Bob come in and talk
That'd be
about the books that he's written. Hey, Bear Bryant made a cameo in one of his books, and so, local attorney, doing well, selling a lot of books, and we're proud of Bob, and he's my brother-in-law as well, so we're very proud of him. He also does defense work and mediation work, but right now he's really stepping out as an award-winning author, and we're all just so proud of Bob's work.
Judge, you ever thought about writing a book?
Oh, I probably got some criminal cases I would love to write a book about. Boy, some of those facts were great when I was practicing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got callers waiting, y'all. We've got Jim on the line with a question from Madison. Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yeah, I've got a townhouse, and there's a townhouse next to me that about 4 times their pipes have frozen and caused water damage to my property coming through the wall. And my insurance has had to pick up my share, and his insurance his share. Of course, it affects my rates, and also I see the fact that I have to pay the deductible. Is there some kind of remedy?
There's a couple of options, Jim. Let's talk about first, you're right to go ahead and get your insurance carrier involved. Your neighbor's pipes burst, froze, caused damage to your property. That's their negligence. Now, you're right to get your carrier involved because your carrier can pay your damages if that's within your insurance policy. And then they themselves can go after the other townhouse owner and their insurance company. If they prevail, then you would get your deductible back, and hopefully your premiums won't rise. Now, sadly, the mystery of premiums rising is it just happens. It's like death and taxes. And so but if your insurance company refuses to do that, then you can make a claim, get a lawyer, and make a claim against your neighbor and their insurance company to recoup your money and then pay back your own insurance company, thereby not raising your rates. So they're going to rise no matter what, I'm sad to say, but you do have remedies, and hopefully your insurance carrier will go after the other side to get your deductible back and hope your insurance rates don't rise.
Judge, when you have been in district court, there is no jury. You are it, right?
That's right.
And so some of these Strange questions, legal questions come up all day long for you. What's it like to be deciding people's issues like that?
Well, that's what I signed up for. I really enjoy the opportunity. It does mean a lot to a lot of people, and we're cognizant of that. We make decisions every day that affect people's lives, and so I have a lot of prayerful consideration about everything that I do on the bench.
Judge Tootin, people will come in, like, for example, this caller. This was a dispute over some damage to property. So you handled a lot of high-profile criminal cases and a lot of high-stakes criminal cases during your tenure as a lawyer. Now you're on the bench and have been for quite some time. And now you get cases from A to Z. And the lawyers, I guess you have lawyers to brief their issues. And so you're getting, your docket, I don't know how big it is now, but I'm sure it's growing as we speak, given the size of the county and the need for judges. But how is it, is it just you, or do you have a staff? Do you have law clerks? What's the background once you leave the courtroom and you go back to your office? What's the setup back there?
Sure. Well, I do have a staff. I've got a judicial assistant and a courtroom deputy that are both retired, or actually both lawyers. One of those is retired from the court system here in Madison County. I also have a court reporter. I'm learning new things every day. That keeps us fresh, and so I enjoy learning new areas of the law and being able to dig into those things.
We have got Ralph on the line with a question from Florence. Hi, Ralph. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yes, I had a delivery truck backed into me in my new car, and they paid for having the car fixed. But I was thinking about trading it in, and the dealer told me that the value in it, because the car had been wrecked, was less.
Yeah.
And I checked into a diminished value.
That's right.
And I called the agent, but he will not return my calls.
Sadly, that's not unusual, Ralph. You have different remedies. The fair market value of your vehicle is totaled, the cost of repairing your vehicle if it's damaged, and then if you have a diminution in value. Let's say your car was worth $20,000 when you drove it off the lot, and then, well, sadly, once you drive it off the lot, it's worth, I don't know, 17. But somebody hits you, and then it's not worth even 17. So where does that delta come from? You can make a claim against the other driver's insurance company for diminution of value as long as you don't sign the release first. What you'll need is testimony from a professional or yourself to say, hey, my car was worth 20, now it's worth 15 or 12 or whatever it is, and you can recover that diminution of value for your vehicle. But a lot of insurance companies are going to make you jump through those hoops, file a claim. You may go in front of a judge similar to Judge Tootin to prove that case. And so to prove your case, you're going to need testimony and evidence to reasonably satisfy the judge or jury of the rightness of your cause. So Judge Tootin, the reasonable satisfy standard, that's just more likely than not? Is that evidence that you typically ask for?
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people, when they come into court, they just kind of stand there if they're pro se, and they're looking for the judge to kind of bring the evidence out of them. If you come to court and you're not represented, you need to be ready with all the evidence that you have and ready with a presentation to present to the court so they know what you're asking for.
They're telling us to take a break. We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. It's Meet the Judge night. Stay with us. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, or you'd like to learn more about the 23rd Judicial Circuit and the Honorable Judge Patrick Tootin, check out 23judicialcircuit.org. Here's how to get in touch with Will League with Timberlake & League. They're personal injury attorneys, so everything from car accidents to medical malpractice. 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. And the website is law-injury.com. If you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon Dovey, Family Law Attorney, Child Support, Custody, Divorce, 539-7337, SharonFamilyLaw.com.
Judge, thank you very much for staying up with us. Thanks for all your questions tonight, everybody.